Construction of pattern for shorts. In the previous session, we identified the standard measurements required for making shorts. In this session, we will see how to construct the pattern of shorts based on drafting instructions. At the end of the session, you will be able to estimate fabric required for making shorts, construct pattern for shorts. In the previous session, we have seen that the only body measurement required for shorts is the hip circumference. We have also found out the waist circumference and the length of the shorts. Based on these measurements, we will first determine the fabric required for making shorts. We identified the total length of the shorts as 16 inches. This will be the length of one leg portion. So the total length of fabric required for both the leg portions will be 2 multiplied by 16, which comes to 32 inches. Next, we will determine the length of the waistband. The length of the waistband will be equal to the waist circumference, which is 34 inches. We can round this to 37 inches. Before we go about drafting our pattern for the shorts, let's first take a look at how our pattern would actually look like. If we were to fold the shorts symmetrically lengthwise into two, this is how our pattern would look like. Now let's make a few calculations before we start drafting the pattern for shorts. We have the hip circumference as 30 inches. We have also derived the waist circumference as hip circumference plus 4 inches, which is 34 inches. We will require these fractions for the construction of the pattern for shorts. Now let's see how to construct the pattern for shorts based on drafting instructions. First, draw the baseline 01, which is 16 inches. This line represents the fold while drafting on fabric. Now from point 1, measure 1/3 of hip circumference, which is 10 inches in our case. This is point 2. Again, draw a right angle line from the baseline. Starting from point 2, measure 1/3 of hip circumference plus 1.5 inches, which is 11.5 inches, and make a mark on the right angle line made earlier. This is point 3. From point 3, measure 1.5 inches to the left and make a mark. This is point 4. Now from point 1, measure 1/4 of the waist circumference, which is 8.5 inches, and make a mark. This is point 5. Join points 4 and 5 in a straight line. From point 5, measure 1/2 inch down and make a mark. This is point 6. Now shape points 1 and 6 slightly. From point 3, start shaping and join point 6 in a straight line. This will be the front crutch seam line. From point 0, measure 1 inch upwards and make a mark. This is point 8. Now from point 8, measure 1/3 of hip circumference, which is 10 inches, and make a mark in a right angled line. This is point 7. Join points 3 and 7 in a soft shape. From point 7, measure 1 inch downwards and make a mark. This is point 9. Join points 0, 9 in a straight line. Now join points 7 and 9 in a right angle and mark the midpoint of this line. This will be point 10. At point 10, shape 1/4 inch outwards. We have constructed the front piece for the shorts. Now we will draft the back piece of the shorts. Extend the straight line 2, 3 and then measure 2.5 inches starting from point 3 and make a mark. This is point 11. Now extend the straight line 8 7 and then measure 2 inches starting from point 7 and make a mark. This is point 12. Join points 11 and 12 in a soft shape. Now extend the straight line 0 9 and then measure 2 inches starting from point 9 and make a mark. This is point 13. Join points 12 and 13 with a right angled line and mark the midpoint of this line as point 14. At point 14, shape quarter inch outwards for the hem seam allowance. From point 6, measure half inch outwards and make a mark. This is point 15. Now from point 15, measure 1.5 inches upward and make a mark. This is point 16. From point 3, measure and mark half inch along the line to the right to get point 17. Now join points 16 and 17 in a straight line. Start shaping from point 11 and join point 16 in a straight line. Join 1 16 in a soft curve. This is the construction of the back piece of the shorts. Thus, we have completed drafting the front piece and the back piece of the shorts. In this session, we have learnt how to construct pattern for shorts. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key steps involved in constructing the pattern for shorts. Step 1. Draw baseline 0 1. Step 2. Mark points 2, 3, 4 and 5 and join points 1 and 5. Step 3. Mark point 6 and shape points 1 and 6 and also 3 and 6. Step 4. Mark points 8 and 7 and shape points 3 and 7. Step 5. Mark points 9 and 10 and join points 0 and 9. Step 6. Shape quarter inch outwards at point 10. Step 7. Now mark and shape points 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. With that, we have come to the end of this session.